Hello, welcome to Stress Relief for Staff. This is part of the Let's Talk Quality webinar series created and presented by the Pennsylvania Keys Program Quality Assessment Team. This was recorded in April 2023. My name is Amy Hoffman. I am a Program Quality Assessor, and I'm looking forward to sharing some helpful hints with you. How do you define stress? Why does this topic matter? Let's just pause for a few moments for you to think about your answer. In addition to the definition of stress that you came up with, here's a little bit more about the definition of stress. So, what is stress? It's a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. It's a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. The tricky thing about stress, and the anxiety that may come with it, is that it's an absolutely necessary emotion. Our brains are wired so that it's difficult to take action until we feel at least some level of this emotional state. In fact, as you can see by this chart, performance peaks under the heightened activation that comes with moderate levels of stress. As long as the stress is not prolonged, it's harmless. The onset of stress entices the brain into growing new cells that are responsible for improved memory. However, this effect is only seen when stress is intermittent. As soon as the stress continues beyond a few moments into a prolonged state, it suppresses the brain's ability to develop new cells. You can find more information about this in the article that is cited right here on your screen. The author of the article said, "I think intermittent stressful events are probably what keeps the brain more alert, and you perform better when you are alert." Besides increasing your risk of heart disease, depression, and obesity, stress decreases your cognitive performance. Fortunately, though, unless a lion is chasing you, the bulk of your stress is subjective and is under your control. Top performers have well-honed coping strategies that they employ under stressful circumstances. This lowers their stress levels regardless of what's happening in their environment, ensuring that the stress they experience is intermittent and not prolonged. So back to the question I asked at the beginning. Why does this topic matter? Well, it matters because we all live with stress. We all need to learn ways to cope with it. And classroom teachers have always lived with a ton of it, but especially since COVID. Yikes! And what early childhood educators do is so very important that we have to help them to be able to cope. Teachers need downtime. They need a break. The best way to cope with stress is to avoid it. Although it's not always possible to avoid it, and some stress is indeed good, it's still good to have some strategies to prevent it when you can. So here are some tips. You could avoid uncontrollable stressors. For instance, if shopping with your partner stresses you out, don't do it. How about prioritizing? When you're faced with more than one task, prioritize and do one at a time. Do it well and then move on. You could also improve communication. Listen carefully. Smile. Admit you're wrong. Say you're sorry. Give compliments and express your thoughts and feelings clearly and appropriately. How about developing a positive attitude? Without a positive attitude, preventing and managing stress is very difficult. If you think you're not in control, you're setting yourself up for failure and more stress. Reward yourself. Treat yourself as you have successfully overcome challenges. Part of this reward should involve relaxation and special treats. Be sure to take time for yourself. Spend 15 to 20 minutes per day simply relaxing or doing something you enjoy. And when you sleep, your brain literally recharges, shuffling through the day's memories and storing or discarding them. That's actually what causes dreams, so that you wake up alert and clear-headed. Your self-control, attention, and memory are all reduced when you don't get enough or the right kind of sleep. Sleep deprivation raises stress hormone levels on its own, even without a stressor present. Another tip to prevent stress is to practice self-care. And here are some practicing self-care kind of tips. The Devereaux Center for Resilient Children talks about the concept of refilling your pitcher. When you think about your well-being, it may be helpful to think of yourself as a pitcher full of liquid. When you feel rested, healthy, supported, and fulfilled, your pitcher is full. When you feel tired, sick, anxious, alone, or stressed, your pitcher is likely empty. When your pitcher is full, you can pour into the cups what is needed throughout the day. And those cups, well, they're the people in your world. If you're a classroom teacher, they're the children in your classroom and your coworkers. But when your pitcher is empty, you simply are not capable of filling those cups with what they need. So, what are some ways to refill those cups? Well, maybe take a walk or take a nap. A change of pace, like escaping into a novel or a movie, could come in handy. Maybe something as simple as listening to your favorite music. Maybe dinner with friends or family, playing with children, either the children in your classroom, children at home, or even your neighbor's kids, or dancing. How about a quiet chat with somebody who's close to you? Or even a few moments of solitude while you listen to sounds of silence. Not the song necessarily, but just silence. Our culture is so full of noise. So find time for that silence. Another thing you can do is learn to say no. And learning to say no is really, really difficult. I can tell you that I struggle with it. But I can also tell you that the more you say no, the more it can become a habit. And it is a fantastic way to practice self-care. A big step in managing stress involves stopping negative self-talk in its tracks. The more you think about negative thoughts, the more power you give them. Most of our negative thoughts are just that. They're thoughts, not facts. When you find yourself believing the negative and pessimistic things, your inner voice could say, it's time to stop and write them down. Literally, stop what you're doing and write down what you're thinking. Once you've taken a moment to slow down the negative momentum of your thoughts, you will be more rational and clear-headed in evaluating if they're true. You can bet that your statements aren't true pretty much any time you use words like never, worst, ever, extreme words. Identifying and labeling your thoughts as thoughts by separating them from the facts will help you to escape the cycle of negativity and move forward toward a more positive outlook. How about having fun? Be intentional about having fun. Have fun with yourself, have fun with people, but go out, have fun. That's a great way to practice self-care. Exercise is one of the most effective ways of preventing and managing stress. You could start small by being physically active and exercise every other day for at least 30 minutes. And eat and sleep well. A good night's sleep, as I've talked about before, is excellent, and nutritious meals, they can both help you to develop a healthier lifestyle that is definitely conducive to less stress. We're going to talk about some overall stress relief strategies, so this question is about stress in general. A lot of these strategies will be useful to classroom staff. But then after that, we'll talk about some specific strategies that can be used in the classroom. So let's pause for a few moments for you to think. What are some of your strategies for dealing with stress, just in general, not necessarily in the classroom? So, in addition to the ideas that you thought about, here are some general tips that you can try for managing stress. How about thinking positively? When you're faced with a difficult situation, take time to put things into perspective. Ask yourself, what does this situation mean in the grand scheme of things? Is it really such a big problem? Positive thoughts help to make stress intermittent by focusing your brain's attention onto something that is completely stress-free. You have to give your wandering brain a little help by consciously selecting something positive to think about. Any positive thought will do to refocus your attention. When things are going well and your mood is good, this is relatively easy. But when things are going poorly and your mood is flooded with negative thoughts, this can be a challenge. In these moments, think about your day and identify one positive thing that happened, no matter how small. If you can't think of anything from the current day, reflect on the previous day, or even the previous week. Or maybe you're looking forward to an exciting event that you can focus your attention on. The point here is that you must have something positive that you're ready to shift your attention to when your thoughts turn negative. How about appreciating what you have? Taking time to contemplate what you're grateful for isn't merely the right thing to do, it also improves your mood because it reduces the stress hormone, which is cortisol, by 23%. People who worked daily to cultivate an attitude of gratitude experienced improved mood, energy, and physical well-being. Another tip is to learn to accept what you can't change. Sometimes we just cannot change things and we just need to learn to accept them. I struggle with that, but it is possible to learn this skill. What about reframing your perspective? Stress and worry are fueled by our own skewed perception of events. It's easy to think that unrealistic deadlines, unforgiving bosses, and out of control traffic are the reasons why we're so stressed all the time. You can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them. So before you spend too much time dwelling on something, take a minute to put the situation in perspective. Avoid asking, what if? What if statements throw fuel on the fire of stress and worry? Things can go in a million different directions, and the more time you spend worrying about the possibilities, the less time you'll spend focusing on taking action that will calm you down and keep your stress under control. Ask for help. Asking for help in doing things that might overwhelm you is a huge tip to put into place for managing stress. You'd be amazed at how many people genuinely like to help out. Remember, chances are that some of the people around you might have had similar problems and they might have found a solution to a particular problem that they could share with you. And use your support system. To be calm and productive, you need to recognize your weaknesses and ask for help when you need it. This means tapping into that support system when a situation is challenging enough for you to feel overwhelmed. Everyone has someone at work and or outside of work who is on their team rooting for them and ready to help them get the best from a difficult situation. Identify these individuals in your life and make an effort to seek their insight and assistance when you need it. Here are some more tips that you can try for managing stress. How about counting to 10 before reacting? And if that doesn't work, count to 10 again. And if that doesn't work, count to 10 again. Sometimes we might need to count to 10 a couple times, but it definitely helps. All right, another tip is to relax. You can do this by clearing your mind, focusing on something peaceful. Think happy thoughts. You can relax your muscles because stress causes muscles to become tense. Tightening and relaxing different muscle groups is one way of relaxing them. As you practice this exercise, concentrate as you tighten a muscle for a few seconds, then relax slowly and feel the difference. You can also relax with massage therapy. Not going to lie, that's one of my favorite ways to manage stress. Stress can cause knots in various muscles, and a massage therapist can help loosen this tension. The easiest way, though, to make stress intermittent lies in something that you have to do anyway. Breathing. The practice of being in the moment with your breathing will begin to train your brain to focus solely on the task at hand and get the stress monkey off your back. When you're feeling stressed, take a couple of minutes to focus on your breathing. Close the door, put away all other distractions, and just sit in a chair and breathe. The goal is to spend the entire time focused only on your breathing, which will prevent your mind from wandering. Think about how it feels to breathe in and out. This sounds simple, but it's hard to do for more than a minute or two. Our normal reaction to stress is to have fast, shallow breathing, but by repeatedly inhaling slowly through your nose, holding it for a few seconds, then exhaling through your mouth, you can counteract that fast, shallow breathing that's associated with stress. How about limiting your caffeine intake? Drinking caffeine actually triggers the release of adrenaline. Adrenaline is the source of the fight or flight response, which is a survival mechanism that forces you to stand up and fight or run for the hills when faced with the threat. The fight or flight mechanism sidesteps rational thinking in favor of a faster response. It's kind of like the lion that we talked about earlier. This is great when a bear is chasing you, but not so great when you're responding to an email. Caffeine causes your emotions to overrun your behavior. What about disconnecting? Given the importance of keeping stress intermittent, it's easy to see how taking regular time off the grid can help to keep your stress under control. When you make yourself available to your work 24/7, you expose yourself to a constant range of stressors. Forcing yourself offline and even turning off your phone gives your body a break from a constant source of stress. Studies have shown that something as simple as an email break can lower stress levels. And a stress envelope. You're like, what is a stress envelope? I have an envelope here that somebody gave me once, and it says, when you're stressed, open it. And inside of it are a couple comic strips, a couple positive thoughts, some funny pictures, some memes. And when I get really worked up, I like to open that envelope, pick something out at random, and then laugh about it. Laughter is a fantastic tip for managing stress. My most favorite tip for preventing or dealing with stress is to play. Play relaxes and strengthens us. It keeps our thinking flexible and restores our enthusiasm. We know it's play when it's satisfying, when it causes us to lose track of time, and when it's our own choice. Here are some ways that adults play. Laughing with an old friend. I've got to tell you, I have friends who sometimes we will just laugh to the point of tears at nothing even that's all that hilarious, but just because we love talking to each other. So take time to laugh. What about cooking a favorite meal? Or solving a puzzle? I have a coworker who loves solving puzzles, and I think that that is a fantastic way that she plays. How about throwing a frisbee or playing a pickup game of basketball? When was the last time you jumped in the leaves? Watering a plant is very soothing, and that's a way that people play. Or taking a walk. How about savoring the movement of light and shadows on a sunny day? Another great way to play is imagining or daydreaming. We constantly promote with children the concept of imagining things and of creativity. Well, take some time for that kind of creative play for yourself. A play break can take 10 seconds or last all day. It can be simple or complex. It's really doing something you love simply because you love doing it. There are times when it's not only all right for adults to play, but it's essential. We've already talked about some overall stress relief strategies, many of which can be used in your classroom. But let's talk about some specific classroom strategies. Take a moment to reflect on some strategies that you use for dealing with stress in the classroom. Here are some practical strategies to use in your classroom. Most of these come from a blog post titled Coping with Everyday Stress. Tip number 1, leave your room. No, don't just get up and leave. But when it's time for your break and someone comes to cover your class, whether it's for 15 minutes or an hour, leave. Walk out. Go sit somewhere away from the children. Even if another teacher is covering for you, if you are in the classroom, those children are coming to you with their tears, their laughter, and their peer conflicts. And by nature, of course, you want to help and you want to share in their emotions. Leave the room. Give yourself time to just get away from it for a little bit. You will likely feel like you've recharged fully and can finish out the day at your best. How about staying hydrated? Drink plenty of water. This promotes good physical health and it can stave off fatigue. Tip number 3, enjoy the children. Get on the floor and play with the children. You will likely find that engaging with the children brings you closer to them and builds a mutual respect. This will make your days go much more smoothly, and you'll find that you enjoy that time with them. They love to see teachers laugh. Embrace that. Laugh with the kids. Spend time just enjoying being with them. And another tip is to check in with each other. Sometimes we might need a nudge, right? But please remind each other of the importance of those moments of self-care. So, now that we've gone through several strategies and tips, what is one way that you can positively reduce your stress within the next week? Take some time to just jot down a few notes, just a few, even one practical strategy. These two sources were used for some of the material in this webinar. Be sure to check them out. You'll find some other practical strategies that you can use for managing stress. Have you heard about the Let's Talk Quality blog? www.letstalkqualitypa.com. This blog has been created by the Program Quality Assessment team of the Pennsylvania Key. There are a variety of articles on there for early childhood professionals and school-age professionals. Articles might include things that are research-based, or quotes, or pictures, or fun stories, or recipes. Check it out. Something new is posted every Wednesday. Thank you for taking some time to watch this webinar. I hope that you learned some new tips or strategies that you could use, or maybe you were reminded of some things that you used in the past that you're going to try again. Again, my name is Amy Hoffman. I'm a member of the Program Quality Assessment Team. Be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions or any ideas. Have a great day.